Classroom Corner. Welcome back. I am so happy to have you guys here. I'm so happy to be here. It feels like it's been a really long week and a long time, but it's been the same time that it has always been. So I'm happy to have you guys back. I hope you guys had an amazing week. I hope you did amazing things. I hope you tried something new. And I hope you're staying good, staying happy, and all that fun stuff. So we are going to go ahead and jump into this week's story. Before we do that though, we're going to go back and look at last week's story. So last week, you can go look over here for a hint of what last week's story was. It involved a group of people who really wanted something, and then a really tall guy who's being presented to these people by an older man. So there's your hint. So go ahead and think in your brains, what was last week's story? Think of the names and the name of the story. And the people really wanted something, so think in your brains. Alright, do you have your answer? Okay, so it was the story of Samuel finding a king. So if you remember from last week, the people really wanted a king. They wanted a king so bad. And God was like, look, you guys, I've already saved you from kings and kingdoms that were doing you wrong, and you guys still want a king? Like, I did all this for you, but you don't want a king. And he's like, you're not gonna like the king. The king's gonna make you do things that you're not gonna want to do. But the people still said, we want a king, we want a king, we want a king, which was the number one repeated word or phrase that we said last week. So Samuel went to go ahead and find a king, and Samuel ended up finding Saul, and then Saul was appointed as the new king. So there we go. Now we're ready to jump into this week's story, and I'm super excited. One, because it's a parable, and I love parables, they're awesome. So if you don't remember what a parable is, it's okay, we'll go over it. So it's a parable, first of all, and then second of all, we have a really cool craft that I'm super excited about. So it's good things all around. It always is, but it's extra good things all around. So I'm super excited to get into it. So first off, before we start the story, if you don't remember what a parable is, that is okay. We talked about two of them so far this year. One was the story of the foolish builder and the wise builder, and then one was the good Samaritan. And the parables, before I even go naming stories, parables are, well, I'm going ahead of myself. Take a guess. Think in your brains, what might be a parable? If you don't know, that's okay. Still take a guess. There's no wrong guessing, because you're just guessing, and that's okay. So take a guess if you don't know. If you do know, think in your brains of what that answer is. Alright, let's see if you're right. So parable is a story that Jesus told that had a meaning or a lesson behind it. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the parable for today, which I'm so excited about. It's awesome. Nice, short, sweet, and simple, but very important. So, Jesus was preaching and teaching in the synagogues. So a synagogue is kind of like a church, another name for a church. So Jesus, he was preaching and he was teaching in the synagogues, and he asked, what is God's kingdom like? And this wasn't anyone just asking. This was actually Jesus himself asking to the crowd, which I think is pretty cool. So he's like, I'm gonna ask a question and I'm gonna answer it myself. I think that's pretty neat. So Jesus answered his own question by saying, it's like a mustard seed. So it's like a little mustard seed. Now unfortunately I don't have a mustard seed for you for an example, but mustard seeds are these itty bitty little tiny seeds. They're very tiny. So it's like a mustard seed. So imagine a mustard seed, pretend you're holding up a little mini mustard seed. So it's a little tiny mustard seed. Someone planted a tiny seed in a garden. So go ahead and take your little mustard seed and go ahead and pretend to plant it in the ground or the table if you're watching on table. Any surface that's around you, pretend to plant it. So go ahead and plant your mustard seed. So someone planted a tiny seed in a garden, and it grew into a tree. So imagine this little tiny mustard seed, and it just grew into this giant tree. Like, look, if you have a window nearby, look at a tree outside, look at a nice big tree. That mustard seed is now that big tree. So it grew into a tree, and birds nestled there in its branches. So the tree was so big and such a good tree that birds were able to come and nest in it, which is really awesome. So there you go, and that is what he responded to that. So, now remember, Jesus, when he's talking in parables, it can be a little bit confusing, and that's okay. So, Jesus, when he was talking about this mustard seed, he was talking about God's kingdom. So, he's saying that this mustard seed of God's kingdom started out as this little tiny mustard seed, but then someone planted it, and it grew and grew and grew. So, God's kingdom started out super small. But because we're spreading it and we're growing it every single day, it's now growing into this big tree. And now, because the tree's big and it's thriving, birds are able to come and nestle in its branches. So the birds can represent us. Because we're going and us Christians are going and we're settling in the mustard tree, or we're settling in God's kingdom, which is pretty neat. It's super short, but again, like I said, short, sweet, simple, and very important, but very important. So there you go. That is the story of how little mustard seed turned into this big tree, and how God's kingdom started off small, but now it's grown into this strong, amazing tree, which I think is pretty neat. So, because we have finished our Bible story, we're going to go ahead and glue on a poster piece. And actually, I didn't even realize it's the last poster piece. Because I didn't even realize it's the last week of July. This month has just, like, flown by. I feel like that's every month now. It's just, like, zooming by, and it's like, whoa. So, alright, there we go. So, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a poster piece. Oh, there you go. There's an example of a mustard seed there. If you can see it in his hand, that is very, very, very tiny. So that little tiny mustard seed grew into a big tree. And there you go. There is our last poster piece. We're actually, we're going to have new posters next week. This unit just, or not unit. Well, yeah, I guess this is a unit. This unit just, like, zoomed by, like, blinked, and it was over. My goodness. We learned a lot. We talked about Joshua's adventures, and how he went and he took over for Moses, and how we crossed the Jordan River on dry land. And then we talked about how the people really wanted a king, and how Samuel got a king for them, which was King Saul. And then today we talked about the mustard seed and how God's kingdom has grown. So there we go. And also it's fitting because of the sunflowers, because we were talking about things growing today. So it kind of all fits together, which is pretty good. So there you go. That is the poster piece for today. And next week we're going to have new posters and a new poster piece, which, if I remember correctly, it's a really big poster, so look forward to that. I'm excited. So we're going to go ahead and review over the posters one more time for the last time, because these are going to be gone next week. I'm going to be so sad, but we're going to have new ones, so it's going to be okay. So we're going to go ahead and read this one. The Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And that comes from Joshua chapter 1, verse 9c. And that is very true. No matter where the Lord, or no matter where you go, the Lord is always going to be with you. Give me 1 second. Okay, we're good. So, we have that, and then, okay, this will work. And then we also have be brave and strong, and that comes from Joshua chapter 1, verse 6a. And that was from Joshua's story, and how God was like, hey, be brave, be strong, you got this, when he was about to take over for Moses and lead the people to the promised land. So that's pretty neat. And then we have this one over here, which says the same thing as the other one, but we'll go over it again, because why not? So, the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And that comes from Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. And there you have it. That is the poster pieces. Say goodbye to them. They're going to be gone next week. But we'll have some new and exciting ones, which I'm super excited about. So we're going to go ahead and move over to, let's go ahead and roll our dice, our verse dice today. So let's go ahead and spin it. And, we have last unit's one again. So now faith, hope, and love remain. These three things, and the greatest of these is love. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 13. And there you have it. So that was our big thing we talked about. We might have had this quote last week. My apologies. I don't determine the dice. The dice determines itself. and how, but we were talking about how faith, hope, and love remain, but the greatest of these is love. How without love, our words would just be loud noises, like Paul was saying. So, there we go. Toss that out of the way. So that is that. We're going to go ahead and move over to the craft. I'm super, super excited. Hopefully you guys will be able to see this, but this craft is really, really neat. So, this craft is going to have to do with flowers right here. And we're actually going to be doing something with these flowers. You can't see that I colored them, but I promised I colored them. They're like pink and blue and purple. They're pretty cool. Maybe if I hold it up, you'll be able to see it. You can see it a little bit. You can see it a little tiny bit. So, for this, you're going to want to get just a piece of paper. Try to avoid construction paper because it might not do the same thing that we're going to be doing. So just get plain old, regular old paper. Doesn't have to be anything special. And then you can go ahead and make your flower. Go ahead and color it and cut it all that and cut it and all that. Or yeah, so color it, or you could draw it first of all. Then you could color it or cut it. Just somehow get to this step. Doesn't matter how you get to it. Somehow get to this step. And you want to try your very best to make it all even, because we're going to be doing something with it that is kind of important. So then after you get your flower, what you're going to do is you're going to fold the petals inward like this. So it's like the flower has not bloomed yet. It's exactly what it's like, actually. So you want to keep on folding the petals in. So you don't want to see the petals or the flower at all. So here, let me get a completed one. There you go. So you want it to just be like this. So you want to fold all the petals in. So I'm going to do the same with a different one. We're having some difficulties here. There we go. Alright, so you're just gonna want to keep on folding them in just so they're like that. So you don't want to be able to see them at all. You want to be able to just have them as flowers that have not bloomed yet. So, sorry, very focused on folding these. So, okay, I'm gonna do two of them for right now. So here we have a before, and here we have an after, where the petals are all folded in. So you shouldn't be able to see anything at all. For these pieces of paper, the other side is green and one side is white. So I'm seeing no white and I'm seeing all green. So I hope y'all will be able to see this. So you're gonna need to get a little bit of water. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. So, and actually what we're gonna do, so we started out with this tiny little flower that has not bloomed and has not grown yet, kind of like the mustard seed we were talking about earlier. So what we're gonna do, I should have got it in a clear bowl. I hope y'all will be able to see this. Is you're gonna go ahead and place the flower in the water. I'm actually, you know what? We're gonna be a little crazy. I'm gonna pick the phone up. There we go. So look what is happening to the flower. It's blooming. How cool is that? So there you go. You have the flower is actually just straight up blossoming right before our very eyes. And all we had to do was put it in water. So this flower is blooming just like the mustard seed was growing in our story today. So there you go, and let me put this down real quick, and let me see if I can get the other one in. And boop. Okay. There you go. It takes a little bit to get it started at first, but once it gets going, then it blooms. How cool is that? There it goes. That is so, so neat. So it's just like that mustard seed. It started off as a little mustard seed, and then it just kept on growing. Oh, my finger has been in the camera the whole time. I love that so much. Sorry about that. There you go. So and you can see the color now. So there's my pink flower that I did. And there you go. It's all bloomed. So there's our flower. How cool is that? So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can set the camera back up without it falling down. that might be a bit of a challenge, but we'll roll with it. Hey, first try. There we go. Cool. That worked out really well. So now, this one's a little damp because it was just in the water, but now it has blossomed. It bloomed. And then, if you look at the other one here too, it has done the same exact thing. So there you go. So that is something that is so cool. I love that craft. It's it was neat when I was testing it out before. I was like, wow, that's super awesome. So there you have it. So that is the craft. It's something super fun you can do. Easy too. You just need water and some paper and some. You don't even have to color it. So do what you want with it. So that is super duper exciting. So that is the craft for today. And I know it's not exactly a mustard seed, but it is still, you can still imagine it as a mustard seed because it's growing and growing, just like the flower started off as a little bud and it bloomed, just like the mustard seed started out as a little seed and grew into a tree. Just how God's kingdom started off small, but now it has grown, and now we can us as birds, we can nestle in its branches. But of course, he means humans. We can be in God's kingdom. So that is pretty awesome. So we're actually finishing up a little bit early. Oh, song of the week. That's what I'm forgetting. I was like, I'm forgetting something. So the song of the week, it's actually a whole mess of songs, because it was supposed to be VBS week this week. Unfortunately, of course, that couldn't happen because of coronavirus and all that, which really makes me sad. I look forward to VBS every single year, and I know a lot of you guys do as well. So unfortunately, it was not able to be VBS week, which breaks my heart. Might break yours too, and that's okay. But hopefully, we will be able next year to have like the best VBS ever, two times better than ever. So we'll have that to look forward to next year. Hopefully, cross your fingers, cross your fingers and pray, because I really missed it this year. But because we didn't have it, I've been listening to VBS songs constantly. So if you can just look up on YouTube, on Spotify, on pretty much anywhere you find music. I'm sure it's on Amazon Music and all the Google Play, all the music things that are out there. But go ahead and listen to some VBS songs. If you don't remember the dances, there's usually, for the majority of the songs, dances that you can just search up like Roar VBS theme song, and then it'll come up with like all the moves and everything. So you can relearn the moves if you've forgotten, which is totally okay. It's a lot of moves. So I've been doing that. And it's been a lot of fun, and it's really picked up my spirits from not being able to do VBS. So some VBSs that we have done in the past, Weird Animals, Cave Quest, Funmaker Factory, Shipwrecked, I already said Cave Quest, In the Wild if you did Community VBS last year, and of course Roar was last year's, that was the most recent one. I think that's all of the recent ones. I'm pretty sure I got them all. Oh, and Everest. That's another one. That was from a little bit longer ago, but still awesome. So there you go. So there are some VBSs that you can go look up. If you had a favorite one or maybe a favorite song from those, go ahead and just listen to it, jam out, do the motions, and just have some fun with it. Cheer yourself up if you need some cheering up, or just make a good day even better. So there you have it. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up with the Lord's Prayer. You guys know the drill. I'm going to go ahead and say the first line, and then you go ahead and say the second line. It'll be really awkward for me because I can't hear you, but if you say it right after me, then it'll be just like if we were in the classroom. So we're going to go ahead and let's bow our heads and pray. Alright. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. And there you go. That is today's lesson. Next week we're going to have a new set of posters, some new decorations, maybe some rearranging. Who knows? Depends on how crazy I get with the redecorating. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see. You'll have to tune in next week to see what's going on with the classroom. So yeah, that's going to be something super exciting. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a fabulous week. I hope you guys try something new. I hope you're staying active, staying happy. I know times are tough. It's hard to social distance all the time and all that, but I hope that's not getting me down too bad. Because remember, we talked about that one lesson with Noah's Ark. Right now, we're stuck on the Ark. We're stuck with our family, and we're stuck with all these animals, and we're like, oh my goodness, when are we going to get off of this boat? When are we going to be on dry land? And when are we going to see that rainbow? But someday we will see that rainbow. We don't know how soon it'll be, but we know that God has it all under control, and He knows what He's doing, so we're going to keep on following Him. So, all right. Have a wonderful week. I love you. God loves you. And I will see you guys next week with new story, new posters, new area. It's going to be cool. So, see you then. Bye-bye.